Yo, what is up NBA fans? It's Mike here. Today, I want to talk about the Utah Jazz, and the reason why, even though I'm not particularly interested in the Jazz, and I don't think anybody is, it's actually for that exact reason. Nobody really cares about the Jazz, and because of that, nobody really talks about them. And even though I'm, not some big fan of the Utah Jazz, I do think they're a pretty interesting team this season, and I think they're a team who goes a little bit under the radar when you're talking about some of the better teams in the league. And specifically in the Western Conference, because even though the East has really started to catch up in recent years, and you can make an argument that it is almost as good this year as the West is still definitely a tougher conference. The playoff race at the bottom of the West is going to be brutal this year. There's like 12 teams probably that you can make a strong argument to make the playoffs this year. It's just ridiculous, and I've actually seen some people this early in the season say that the Jazz are not going to make the playoffs, alright? I've seen multiple people put them as a 9th or a 10th seed, and I think that's a little unfair, and we're seeing it at the start of this season. The Jazz are 4-2, and even though they haven't had like the toughest schedule in the world, they haven't had the easiest schedule either. Alright, they have beaten some decent teams, specifically the Clippers. We'll see, once again, we'll see what they do against the Nets tonight, but I'm recording this ahead of time, so obviously I'm not talking about that. But I just want to look at this team and tell you what I think of them, because in my opinion, this is the Jazz team we expected to get last year, okay? We came into last season and this team looked really, really good, and a big thing that happened is that Mike Conley did not play up to his expectations last season. He was coming in as a guy who people had been saying for years was an all-star snub in the West because the guards are just so stacked. If he was in the East, he'd definitely be an all-star. Just a very, very solid player. And we see it at the start of this season. Obviously, it's still early. There's a good chance these numbers go down. But as of right this second, Mike Conley is averaging 20 points, 5 assists and 4 rebounds, along with a steal, and he's doing this on 48% from the field and 46% from 3. Very solid numbers. Now, if I was to bet, I would say those numbers are going to go down slightly, at least the field goal percentage, especially from 3. Like, he's not going to shoot 46% from 3 for the season on 8 attempts a game. Absolutely incredible. However, I don't think it's unreasonable to predict Mike Conley to shoot, 40% from 3. He has been a very good shooter throughout his career. He's a very solid player, and last year, I don't know if it was recovering from injuries or just being in a new place, but he really did not live up to the expectations last season, and that hurt the Jazz a lot. They ended up not being as good as many people predicted, and I think most people, myself included, not gonna lie, expected Mike Conley to be pretty much the same this year because, he's getting older. And they figured the Jazz were going to be a lower seed in the playoffs. I personally believe I had them as like the 5th or the 6th seed, and that was mostly just on the back of like Donovan Mitchell and Gobert being a very solid, albeit not an elite duo in this league. And while I'm not saying that they're actually going to be higher than the 5th seed, or even like the 4th seed at max in the West, because the West is still very tough, I think anyone who predicted this team to miss the playoffs is really sleeping on them, because I would be shocked right now if this team misses the playoffs. So let me go into their roster, alright? First of all, we already mentioned Mike Conley. He's playing fantastic, alright? Donovan Mitchell, he's doing his thing. He's actually not having a very good start to the season. At least by his standards, I should say. 25 and 3 are obviously very good numbers for anyone, but he's only shooting 37% from the field, and we know he's more talented than that. He's also shooting 34% from 3 on 9 attempts a game. I really think he needs to scale back the attempts and help get his percentage better, because, Donovan Mitchell's not a bad 3-point shooter, but there's no reason this man should be taking 9 threes a game. That's just absurd. Like, it's not his game, He's a very good slasher and driver. He really shouldn't be taking that many threes. His field goal percentage, I would expect to go up, especially when the 3-point percentage goes down. The man just needs to get better looks, you know what I'm saying? He's probably going to shoot a pretty respectable, mid-40s from the field this season. You know what Donovan Mitchell does. Rudy Gobert, he's been doing his thing as well. 15 points, 14 rebounds, 2 blocks. He's never going to be some elite offensive player, but he certainly catches lobs with the best of them. He's crazy efficient, and once in a blue moon, he'll throw a hook shot over a lesser defender, alright? We know what Rudy Gobert is. He's probably not going to get any better than he is right now, and that Supermax, I've made a video on it before. I think he should have been traded instead of being given it. But I'm also not going to sit here and be like Shaq and be butthurt that this man got his money, because he is a very good player. And complete side note here, why is Shaq like the most insecure NBA superstar ever? Like, we know that you're better than Dwight Howard. We know you're better than Rudy Gobert. You don't need to sit there and get butthurt when they, like, accomplish something in their careers. That's completely offhand, but just saying, that's just something about Shaq that kind of annoys me. Anyway, Rudy Gobert, he's a solid player. He's a great defensive player, even if he's not very versatile. He's still arguably the best rim protector in the entire NBA, and he's a big part of the reason the Jazz have the number 13th ranked defense. However, what's really impressive this season is their offense. They're ranked number 9, and that's due in part to Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell being good. Bogdanovich, I forgot his name first. I almost called him Bogdan, the guy on the Hawks now, who was traded from the Kings. I mix up their names all the time, drives me nuts, and so I'm trying not to do that anymore. But anyway, 14 points, we know what to expect from him. Alright, 40% from 3. He's only shooting 38% from the field, and I would be shocked if that doesn't go up. We know how good this man is, alright? He's crazy efficient. He's definitely going to shoot better than that. 40% from 3 is pretty much what we expect, though. Outside of scoring, does he really contribute anything to this team? Not really. He's an okay defender. He's not like the worst playmaker in the world, but you're certainly never going to have him averaging more than like 2 or 3 assists a game. He doesn't do much on defense. I just said defense. I don't know why I'm bringing it up twice. You know what I'm saying. He's just a great scorer, and he's a great role player to have on your team. Royce O'Neal finishes the starting lineup. I'm not going to lie to you, I know nothing about Royce O'Neal, but he seems to be shooting very efficiently this season, so, looks like a solid role player to me. I'm hesitant to say that this team is quote-unquote deep, because looking at their bench, they really only have 3 bench players contributing anything. However, all 3 of them are very solid players off the bench. Jordan Clarkson is a fantastic 6th Man of the Year. He's probably going to be a 6th Man of the Year candidate this season. He's just a very solid scorer. He's averaging 15 points a game right now. Just a very good all-around player. Joe Ingles, we know who he is. He used to be a starter. He's shooting not very well from 3 this season, only 31%, but we know that when he gets hot, he's a very solid 3-point shooter. Just another, very solid bench player, another very good one. And the last one is Derek Favors. 9.5 points, he's got solid efficiency. He doesn't do, a ton. I mean, the dude hasn't even attempted a 3-pointer yet this season. That's not his game. But he's a very solid backup center, especially in this league that's leaning more towards small ball, because he can really play the 4 or the 5, and he's not going to have as much of an issue as, a traditional backup center would against some of the smaller guys a lot of benches are churning out these days. So a very solid trio off the bench, and just overall, I don't have a ton to say about this team, because again, they're not crazy interesting. They're definitely a playoff team, but I don't expect them to be contenders. I feel like I've said this before, but Donovan Mitchell and Gobert, they're just not a good enough duo. Mitchell has a lot of potential, but I don't know how close he's ever going to get to it, and I just don't see him. Certainly right now, he's not a superstar. He had a fantastic playoff series against the Nuggets, but outside of that, he's never really shown, in my opinion, to be more than just a very good all-star. I don't know if he's ever going to reach that superstar potential a lot of people, specifically a lot of Jazz fans, see in him. Rudy Gobert, he's at his peak already. Mike Conley, he's very good, but he's 33. He's definitely not getting better. Same with Bogdanovich. I don't know how to say his name. I'm so sorry, guys. It really makes me feel stupid that I don't know how to say this man's name. Honestly, after this, I'm going to go look up on Google how to pronounce it and have it you know what I'm saying. He's 31. A lot of the guys, they're just older, Clarkson, Favors, Ingles, they're all 28 or older. This is not a young team who I think has some, real bright future as a contender in the West. However, they're also very clearly a playoff team right now, in my opinion. For the people who don't think they're making the playoffs, I really just don't know why you're underrating them so much. Maybe it's because you don't know enough about the team, because once again, like I said at the beginning, nobody talks about this team whatsoever. But I definitely believe that this is a playoff team, and maybe one day Donovan Mitchell turns into the superstar that some people think he is. I don't see it right now, but I've definitely, you all know if you've been watching this channel, I've been wrong about teams before, okay? It wouldn't be crazy if I was wrong about Donovan Mitchell now. So that's all I really had for you today, guys. I just wanted to talk about this team who I feel like really doesn't get talked about enough. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And keep checking out my other content. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.